not know this is the podcast where I invite my friends and insult them?
This is the worst host ever. I'm shook. Okay, cool.
Hello! Welcome to Sitting in the Car. I'm here with Peter and Jennifer that are just looking at the camera like deer in headlights.
What do you want us to do?
Nothing, just... Hi guys, how's it going?
It's going very well.
It's great.
Peter is here from the East Coast.
Good old Montreal.
Yes.
Back alive.
Yes, after 1.3 years? 3 years? I don't know. Yeah.
1.25 years.
Fucking so gross. Anyways, fantastic. So what do you guys want to talk about? We should talk about long distance friendships, expectations versus reality. So maybe we'll start with Peter, who is the one who actually moved away.
Okay, well, I don't know. I feel like for myself, when I moved away, I thought, I have my friends in Vancouver. It's going to be lit. We're going to talk to each other every single week. But of course, that didn't happen because these two are trash. Just joking. I'm
sorry, Mr. Okay, this is a guy over here. You'll send him a Snapchat. And he'll reply 2 days later, and you're like, what are you talking about? Because I've already spent the 2 days sending multiple other Snapchats, and he's just he's the worst at
I am the worst of social media. But anyways, going back to the...
Even texting, he doesn't... You'll ask him a direct question, and he'll reply 2 days later, and you're like, I already figured it out.
Literally.
Clearly open Pandora's box. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we're all very busy. We're talking about how our 20s is a wild time for everybody. I think we're all on different paths, Jenny over here is adulting hardcore, working. I'm living my best student life, and Sean, she is kind of doing a little bit of both, trying to be the most. So we're on different wavelengths, but I guess for expectations, I don't know. What do you guys think? Did you expect us to talk every single week or catch up and be hey guys,
Go ahead.
I don't know. I thought we'd have a regular rhythm going. So maybe catch up every 2 weeks or something. That kind of thing. I feel that's how it kind of is with my other friendships who've moved away. There's some people who are just working, and then that way it's easier for them to catch up. But the people who are in school, it's a lot harder. Plus they're making new friends. They got socialized. Kirby, you're on that game.
That's very
you
true.
Replaced us. I don't know with who again. But
I know. Okay. Yeah, totally. And I also have friends that are long distance, and I did have that vibe with them. So my other friend that lives long distance is also very, very busy. She's going to med school, right? So I totally understand she's going to have no... So I was kind of expecting not that much of a... she's obviously very, very busy, so I talk to her every couple months. But I thought us we would every 3 weeks, once a month check in, is what I expected. And to be honest, it's not when we say, I haven't talked to Peter in a month. It doesn't feel like it. If it felt like it, you definitely would be the one to be more on it.
Yeah.
But I think we all just get super busy in our own time. Sure. And you do kind of keep up to date via Instagram stories and this and that. And you do reply to stories here and there. Not Peter, because he doesn't... I know, he's the worst, so that makes it even harder.
Promoting something, and that's it.
Yeah, I think for us, though, every time we see something on Facebook or Instagram, we'll, tag each other, and it's, that kind of, signals
I'm alive,
I haven't talked to you, but, I'm still thinking of you guys.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
The vibes are still there.
You're still relevant in my life, so...
Send the gifs.
Yeah.
And saying it here, makes it, you guys don't talk for, 2 months, but honestly, it doesn't feel any type of way. It just feels the flow of conversation, something funny happens, and we do have a group chat. I really am a big supporter for group chats, because they do help quite a bit. Because even though, whenever you see it, you do see, even the two people interacting, it's kind of
right.
You're, seeing it and stuff. So anyways, I think that's just how it goes. I think having that unrealistic expectation is very early 20s of you to be I'm going to talk to my friend every month,
Yeah.
It's just not, what the vibe is, this is your friend, and whenever, you come back, it doesn't feel like any time has passed, now that you're back, and it's just
And I think if you go on and say, let's talk every 2 weeks on this day, it becomes very... not organic, I suppose.
Yeah,
you can look at it like that. It's almost, I don't want to say forced, because it is, there's definitely pros and cons of having a set date and catching up with your friends, but when you have to put other things aside to do that, I guess it could seem not inconvenient.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is your friends at the end of the day, of course you would still love to talk to your friends, but If you got stuff to do for your life, like I said, we're all on different wavelengths, and we're trying to figure it out.
It's hard because not everybody's schedule's the same, and like
he's in a different time zone.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
and
Couple
it is
hours ahead.
forced. Like, and then I feel like your friendship shouldn't be dependent on the communication. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
and it's kind of nice to have that time in between too, because like I feel like if we caught up every week, not a lot happens, right? So at least when some time passed, and be like, okay, guys, like this happened that month, or like this happened this week. I went to XYZ on that day, and it was great. But if I was catching up with you guys every single week, I think it'd be a different.
It wouldn't be much to catch up on, like
definitely.
especially because you guys are in school. Like you can bitch and complain about group projects, but
vibes, guys.
Literal.
Let me tell you, don't be a shitty group project member, guys. Okay, like I'm gonna promote that live. This is big vibes. Okay, I gotta promote the vibes here. Like, if you're a shitty group member, like
you'll have someone call you out.
Yeah.
You'll eventually get a Peter in your group, and you will email the prof.
I might not be in your group, but I will email your prof and be like,
participation.
Yeah, 100%.
Hello, hi, excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add an extra peer eval. I know it wasn't in this person's group, but yeah.
This has happened on multiple occasions for you?
Multiple occasions. We've curated
Multiple
many emails.
occasions.
But I also think it depends on the vibe among your friendship, like what your friendship is on. Like, we're definitely not the ones to be salty, like fucking Peter hasn't talked to us in 2 months. How dare he not check in on me? Like, we definitely don't have those vibes either, which is super helpful. And I do understand if somebody had to be like, need that constant connection, that would be a, like, everybody's friendship is different, right? So I think it just depends on like your expectation is set on the kind of vibes you have. It's hard to like have an overlay of like, this is how it should be or whatever. So I think, and also when we do catch up, we're very aware of the fact that we are catching up. So it's never like, oh, nothing's up. Oh yeah, it's all the same old. It's very like, let me tell you guys. Okay. So
Where's
November is like, we have a PowerPoint, like the catch up is we take it seriously. Great, which I think is also, you know,
it's good.
helpful.
It works.
Yeah, on the plane ride here, I was literally like, I had from January 2019 to December 2019 on
we
my
went
notepad.
to Cactus and he opens up his notes. He's like, yes, so where would you like to start?
Like scrolling.
He's like, okay, so yeah, this happened and this happened. We're
Listen,
just like,
guys, I'm a busy business guy, okay? Like, let me tell you. Let me tell you. I'm kidding. Yeah.
Is that your vibe? You feel like, What
about you guys, though, with the lack of PD in your life? What's going on?
It's been good. We'll still catch up together.
Yeah.
Like,
We're chilling.
Like it's you or not.
You don't determine our friendship, son.
That's not what I was trying to say. I'm just saying different dynamics, you know.
Yeah, but also like, that's true. Actually, since Peter's gone, I think you and I have become better friends as well.
Yeah, we'll hang out.
We hang out.
These girls went to Japan without me and Iceland in my absence.
You were here in Iceland, so don't even act like you were some type of...
We did shoot that out in the
I guess I was.
Yeah, we're like, hey, we go in, PD, and PD's like,
let me think about it.
I was trying to save to move across the country, so you know.
So why are you bringing it up?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And Japan. You could have joined us.
I really couldn't. Yes.
Jenny, even I couldn't have joined you. I was like, bye, you gotta go.
Yeah, what did you do for school anyway?
Dude, let me tell you, the week I was back, struggle bus and a half. I think I'm still recovering from that. Like, I'm not even joking.
I think it took a toll on both of us. Like, we both got sick.
And we came back because we went like in the middle of like October, which is a very busy time for like all projects, all work, all school.
Yeah.
So you're just like, and then you come back, you're like, boom, boom, boom. It was fucking wild.
And Japan wasn't relaxing. It was more so to look around. And
Like, I definitely don't regret it. Like, 100% would do it again. Like, be worth it. But you know, it is what it is. But yeah, expectations versus reality that's the vibe. And I think it's just like whatever vibe you set, and you just, if you're all on the same page of like, hey, our friendship doesn't fucking depend on like other shit. Then,
and it works. You came back and
he's like, okay, so this happened and this happened. We're
Listen, guys, I'm a busy business guy, okay? Like, let me tell you. Let me tell you.
We're sure ready for you.
Yeah, exactly. They welcome me back with open arms.
Yeah, we
figured out our schedule.
I was like, you don't understand. I'm rearranging all my schedule for you.
I took a day off from work.
Much appreciated.
Or just,
very much appreciated.
So we're all on the same vibe. I think that's what's more important in like keeping your long-term friendships alive is being on the same vibe. Like understanding that that's the vibe, you know? Like but yeah, I think our celebration dynamic has gotten better. Like, we definitely will be hanging out sometimes, and then we'll definitely remember, like, oh, Peter was here, this and that. There's definitely many moments that occur like that, but
We'll have some time. Yeah.
We'll
go on
we'll
some food
usually just
adventures
replace you or something.
Exactly.
Oh.
We tried with a couple people.
We did try with a couple people, but it just wasn't the vibe.
Yeah, I think 2020 for me is about like, oh man, I don't know. That's a tough one actually. Like, no idea. I just want to finish school. I want to like make friends. I want to like. I know the whole thing is like for you is like. I need to start my life, but life has already started.
Yeah, we always,
like,
all the time, because he was like, I can't wait for my life to start. I'm like, it's been started for 25 years, son. Like, why are you?
Exactly.
So he's always like looking to the next thing to be the thing that starts his life. And I'm just like,
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I guess I'm like, I didn't have any plans for this year too. I know people were like, oh, 2020 is going to be my year. It's going to be great and everything. But I didn't set any resolutions for myself, or like I wasn't waiting till January 1st to be like, hey, I'm gonna start this at the beginning of this year, like, because the way I see it, like, why would you wait to start? Like, if you can start on November 20 something, like, why not start then? Like, don't wait until January 1st. So for me, it's just like a continuous thing. Like, I'm always like working on myself. Like, I'm not waiting for like a whole 2020 vision, I suppose, because I think I'm setting myself up for failure if I do that.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So for me, like, I guess in terms of like big goals, I'll be finishing school this year. I gotta decide like what I want to do in terms of whether I'm staying in Montreal, if I'm moving back home. Yeah, finding a job and like settling in and see where it takes me next. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can play by ear. I think that's almost better. I feel like we put too much pressure on things, and then you feel like you're feeling, and you kind of like don't recognize what you've gained from the year just because it wasn't exactly what you wanted, right? So I feel like you gotta be open to like letting the year take you where it may too.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely a balance there. But
For sure.
What about you, Jennifer?
I don't know. That's kind of hard. Like getting to work and everything, getting the groove of everything. I would say like interpersonal growth would probably be a big one for 2020, just in terms of like people are getting older, they're getting busy. Deepening friendships and relationships is a pretty big thing.
Sure.
It's not about like quantity, it's about quality now. I think that was a big thing that you try to get out of your early 20s.
I agree.
That is like point. Not about quantity. So
Yeah, like easy friendships. Like that one don't require you to go out of your, because the vibes are just there, you know, like just if you have to work really, really hard at your friendship, it's probably gonna fall through the cracks just because you get busy. And it's a really shitty thing to say, like I do understand, but it is the trend that does occur because like people are just busy. Like I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we were talking about how like 20 is like everyone's trying to figure it out, you know, like this is the time, especially us in our late 20s now.
Mid-20s. There's
How dare you?
Yeah.
I am turning mid-20s. These two are late 20s.
You know what he
Not
said to
yet.
me? Yesterday, he's like, you know what's a really round number? 26. He's like, what a good old round number. I was like, excuse me?
You just look at it and you're just like, ooh, damn, 26. Like, you getting there.
What do you mean?
I can't with this
It was a joke,
25-year-old. Relax.
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
was
that
a
far
joke.
along behind us. I don't know, it's definitely...
Yeah.
It's interesting to see that we all are going through the same stuff, but just in different ways.
Yeah.
Like, I do talk to, like, my other 20-year-old friends and stuff, too, and it's like, your 20s do encompass of the same shit. It just, everybody's shit is just slightly modified to their own personal thing, but all in all, it's one and the same. But it'd be like that, yo. I don't know.
I think also, I guess for me this year too, and it kind of like it started when I moved to Montreal, is like taking the opportunities that come your way. Like for example, I guess like me moving to Montreal, for you know, like applying and just going for it is something that I feel a lot of people can do, especially like in your undergrad. I hate to preach about school right now, but don't throw your eyes at me. But I think it's important for like especially those first, second year students to take opportunities and put yourself out there. Like I've been in school for so many years now, and I was that student who was like first year KPU. I was like, I'm just gonna go to school and then go home because nothing's out there. But since moving to Montreal, like it's a bigger university, the learning's the same. The learning is all the same. You know, your teachers, your professors, I think, hopefully for a majority of them are qualified to teach you. You know,
One can hope.
I feel like we hold this like kind of prestige and like integrity for different universities depending on like rankings and everything. But education's education.
Yeah.
Learning is the same. I also find the same like in my transition as well, that the learning is the same. If not that you do get that more one-on-one in a smaller university as well. I almost feel like that helps quite a bit, but like there's no huge advancement in learning. It's more like what's associated with the university, more like the opportunities that are available and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how are your early 20s different than your late 20s?
Ooh.
Jennifer?
Jennifer, take this one.
No, I think I'm the one who turned 25 first ago. I think that's the most appropriate.
First of all, I don't appreciate that pause before 25.
So true.
Am I the oldest? Yeah, I guess I am. Okay, Jennifer's not very far behind. Over here in June,
2
relax.
months is quite a difference.
It's not even 2 months. It's 1 month. I'm at the end of April. Max is at the beginning of June. It's literally 1 month in between. I don't know. I feel like your early 20s is like a lot of like, you're very hopeful, and I feel like in your late 20s you're more realistic. Like your early 20s is like, the world is my oyster, and it still is in your late 20s too. Like it's just what you make it. But I feel like going through your early 20s, you do, again, depending on your exposure and what you do and your experience and this and that, right? But I feel like your early 20s is like, I can do everything, right? And you really can, but I think you go through it, and in your late 20s, you're kind of like, okay, I can do everything, but I don't want to do everything. Like, do you know what I'm saying? You kind of like, what do I want to do? And like, what is my vibe? And you kind of come into your own more.
Right.
Like, you think you're 21, 22, and you're like, I know who I am. But like, I feel like I know myself way more than I did then.
Oh, yeah.
In a much more realistic way. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know, you're, again, like I said, you're like super hopeful. Like, you're like, everything is mine, and I am everything, and that's cool. And you can still have that attitude, but just in a more, with like a realistic top coat on it. You know, kind of just like, not having to prove it so much. Like in your early 20s, you're trying to prove to other people who, like, you have it figured out and you know who you are. Whereas in your late 20s, I feel like you're more quiet because you're certain in your, you just have more gravitas in yourself, you know? That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool. I guess we'll go to the next oldest in the car.
Man, you got it.
You're the one who started this, Jenny, so...
Yeah, I was like, how are you going to be going from your glass house over there, Jenny? A month away
Always a
from
glass
you.
house.
Jeez.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think to kind of play off yours, like your early 20s is kind of like, it feels like a race to go to the finish line, and realistically, in your like mid 20s, thank you, it's like, you know your limit and like, you know, play within it. Like, you really try to...
Hashtag BC Lotto, guys. Know your limit, play within it. I didn't know we're sponsored by BC Lotto as well.
Please sponsor me. Sponsor me.
Just like seeing where your capacity at and also working within it, because at the end of the day, like, don't burn yourself out. Like, seems very hypocritical of us, but...
That's very true. We are known to be the burnouts.
Yikes.
But like, you know, we're trying.
Yeah.
And like the early 20s, like everyone was just trying to finish school. I think that was a big thing.
Yeah, it's true.
And you really do think like life is gonna be like bam, 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 and then you do realize like
It doesn't work like that.
even if you're like, oh, people are done school, they're going back.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's never like a time where you're like, and even if it's not school, the school of life, if I may say, but even people are like, yeah, this business was cool, now I want to do the next thing. Like there's always the next thing. And whatever it may be for whoever, it's never, you're not never done, I feel like. And that's kind of the realization, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. And like in your early 20s, it's like a race. You're just trying to get at it. And it's never gonna end.
Yeah, like I feel like your early 20s, you're like, this is a sprint.
Yeah.
And then through your mid 20s, you realize, oh, I'm sprinting a marathon.
Yeah.
You're like, no. And then you
That's
kind of
very
like,
true.
then
Yeah,
you
slow
find
down,
you're like,
find your pace.
I gotta like make sure I'm good on, gotta pace myself and
Pacing's
like,
a big thing.
yeah.
But
Yeah. No, I feel like...
The youngest in the car.
Yes.
please go ahead.
That's very interesting. I feel like for myself, I'm not going to say like it was reversed for me in compared to what you two have said, but I think I was very pragmatic in my like early 20s and 21s because like everyone's situation is very different, right? Like when you grow up, whatever, like you said, whatever you're exposed to shapes you into who you become.
Right.
So I think in my early 20s, I was very like, I guess...
Like had blinders on in a sense.
I wouldn't say blinders, but I was very cautious, like with my actions, and I think like going back to moving away and kind of being on your own, I've taken more it's like, I don't want to say opportunities again, but yeah, definitely bigger risk, bigger opportunities, and that kind of opens the door for you to see that, you know, there is more out there, and you should go for it, right? Which I feel like when you're in your early 20s, perhaps like a lot of people, you know, they think that they can do like all these things, but perhaps they say it, but they don't really go for it, right? And perhaps when you get to like your mid 20s, you kind of be like, okay, I need to do something now. Like I just gotta go for it. Like I can't just keep saying like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Perhaps like that's the time pressure for us too, like in society, to like, try to get it done.
Totally.
But yeah, for me, I feel like I'm almost living that opposite vibe. I think I'm more open to like doing a bunch of not random things, but like.
Yeah, and totally. I feel like even when we're in our 30s, we'll have a different perspective of our time. Because I was reading like about in Psych 2, there's like your experiencing self and then your remembering self. And your experiencing self experience everything as it is. It's like the same theory that's applied to like childbirth and tattooing and everything. But your remembering self only remembers a peak and the end. So that's why they say if it ends well, all's well if it ends well. Is because how your brain works is that it only, when it consolidates like your memories and stuff, you only remember like the peak and then the end. So if your 20s end well and you had a great peak in the middle, you're gonna think your 20s are great, right? And you could have had a fantastic like whole 20s, but then at the end, if it just like went to shit, then you're gonna remember your 20s as like not a good experience. And that's just how like it is. Like there's many studies on it and stuff, how people have like gotten shots but then gotten like a piece of candy after, or their shot has been super painful at the end versus like in the middle or whatever. And people all over the world, and like as a standard, show less pain if it's like in the beginning and like the end was manageable. People just say less pain, even though it's really not realistically, right?
I guess that's what I'm going through right now too, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like my early 20s was, I don't want to say like super rough, but like, it was definitely like a lot of stuff was going on. But now entering my almost mid 20s.
You're mid 20s. Relax, okay?
Mid 20s.
Get the hell out of here.
Sorry,
You're in your
as
mid-20s.
I transition from my early 20s still to mid 20s.
You're transitioning into your late 20s. Let's get it right. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Are you guys also in your late 20s then? Is that
No, we're mid.
Exactly. So I'm also mid now. Thank you very much. Yeah, I guess for me it was like a rough beginning into my 20s, and as time has passed, it felt like it's a lot better. Like so.
Even in society, I think our 20s is just like a different time now. There's different expectations. People are going to school more, like exploring job opportunity more, and like I feel like the life expectancies, just as a whole, not just in us, but I'm just saying like obviously the whole also affects us. I don't know, it's just a very interesting time to be 20, I think. There's just so much globalization and everything, like it's just so much. Sometimes it's like actually overwhelming because you're just like, I'm making the right choice, but
everybody's on the track, trying to find
I guess just don't be judgmental. Like just let people be and do them, and
that's true. That's true. I mean, like for myself, going like turning 25, I'm considered very old to be in school still. And I think it's like the baby face in me too. Like people are like, oh, I thought you were 19. And when I tell them, oh no, I'm actually turning 25 this year. And they're just like, there's no way, that's insane. And like some people are like, oh, like shouldn't you be done by now? And I was just like,
which is so rude. It just goes to show like, okay buddy, like clearly sheltered.
But I think as you get older, you know, you
stop giving a shit.
You're kind of just like, nope, I'm still here. Like
what now?
Yeah, and it kind of also goes back to you know the fact that everybody has different circumstances, right? Like, of course, you'd be able to finish university no problem if you had like everything handed to you. You know, you didn't have to work, you didn't have to, you know, pay for expenses, you didn't have to pay for your tuition. Like, it's a lot easier for you to.
It's just being compassionate of other people's circumstances and understanding that not everybody lives life the way. Again, it comes to the exposure thing, right? So if you've never been exposed to like other people living life in a different way, you're gonna think that your way is the only way and judge everybody based on that standard, and then that's just unfair because it's not really. Just don't be judgmental.
Like, so now when people are just like, should you be done? I was just like, no, like I'm chilling. And I think
in your earlies it would have really
like hard. Even at I think 22, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I should be done by now, right? Because it's like the typical 4 years, like out of high school, and then you graduate, and everything should be like nice and perfect. But it's definitely not realistic, and as you grow older, you do realize that nobody has it figured out. Like, and if they
Yeah.
tell you they have it figured out, they're lying.
Yeah,
So,
because they don't. And
Yeah.
if they do think they have it figured out, wait till it hits you on
It's coming, it's coming.
It's coming.
Exactly.
Like everything,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
comes. So, and honestly, it's true. Some people be going through it in their 30s, and
Yeah.
that's just how your life is. I think there's a decade where you gotta go through it.
yeah.
And whatever decade it is for you, that's just gonna be the decade for you, right? Like, I just feel like 20 just seem to be that way because of just so much uncertainty in your life.
Yeah.
But some people struggle decade as their 30s, and some people struggle decade as their 40s.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, some of my classmates
be.
are actually like they're graduating this year. One of them is like 29, the other one's 30, but they're like so smart.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like it's your age. If
It does
anything,
something, like,
like
it brings
having
you
that
perspective,
experience
yeah.
before you go into school is definitely will give you a heads up. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, not a heads up, like a one up
yeah.
for sure, because you kind of have the experience. You know what you want now. Like you're not kind of digging and trying to explore.
And you're not doing it for anyone else. Like, if you're there at
yeah.
that point, you're doing it for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like people who start early, like they're just rushing to get in school and just
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
just trying to grab at whatever. And
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It just
For
the
sure.
fact is, like, you gotta recognize that that's you, but that might not be somebody else, and that's cool. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Everyone's reality is very different. For sure.
anything else you wanna add, Jennifer?
no, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Petey and Jennifer, for sitting in the car with me.
Good times.
Yes.
Our
Thanks for
friend
having
from
us.
afar, from the East Coast, and
That's
good
right.
old local Jenny.
Thanks,
Just joking.
Jenny from the block. You know.
Yeah, Jenny, don't forget it.
Legit Jenny from the block.
From the
For
block.
sure.
God.
For sure.
Vibes. Well, yeah, I'm excited that you visited. It's been a good time. We'll see you soon, hopefully. Everybody pray that Peter gets a job in Vancouver and not Montreal. Okay, thank you. Bye. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.